I'm back, baby. Hello and welcome back. I have lots of fun things planned. So I've bought myself a set of mini bikes, 3 to be precise, and 3 very juicy power plants to go with them. So I've been searching high and low on Craigslist and eBay, and I've found myself a bunch of stuff to start with. So I'm going to be making a bunch of mini bikes here with all kind of different power plants and drivetrains, and it's going to be a fun time. So I scored myself a nice deal on a Briggs Raptor engine. I've never actually had a Raptor. Those are pretty cool. I got one of them. This one runs really good. It runs on alcohol actually, so this should rip really good. And as well, I bought myself a one of these Harbor Freight motors, 6.5 horsepower, and I bought another Briggs & Stratton Raptor engine here, about the same build quality as this one, although the insides are a little shot. Look at all the rust and stuff on this. So I gotta go through this engine. I need new bearings, maybe a new camshaft, and I think the cylinder needs honed and new rings. So okay, new project time. Got my big red mini bike here. This one actually fits me, believe it or not. So this is going to be a fun little thing to get together here. What I have to accompany this mini bike with is a brand new Predator engine, 6.5 horsepower. What is it? 212 cc's or whatever. Brand new in box. Never had a Predator motor before, so we'll see how that works. And a torque converter. So I've actually never ridden or drove anything that has had a torque converter, so I'm excited to use this and see the performance that it makes. So I was obligated to buy myself a throttle cable kit with the twist grip handle, so I'm going to throw that on the mini bike, and I also have to figure out a way to hook it up to the engine as well. So I am frustrated, to say the least. I wanted to fit the Predator engine inside this space here, and it really doesn't fit at all. So that sucks. Let alone trying to fit the torque converter in there as well was basically impossible. So what I'm going to do is, instead of using the Predator motor in here, I am going to use the flathead racing motor that I was going to use in this one and put it in this one instead. So there should be plenty of space for the Predator motor and the what the hell is it called? The torque converter in here. There's a lot more open space. It just I felt like this engine was more. This was more like a hot rod type of mini bike, and this one was more, especially with the suspension in the back. It's like a off-roader crawler type of mini bike. So that's why I wanted to use the torque converter for this one. But looks like my plans are going to have to change, unfortunately. Ugh, this is even more frustrating. I don't know what the hell kind of motor they had on here before, but 2 of the most common mini bike engines don't fit this frame. So yeah, I guess I'm going to have to cut the frame tomorrow, which is going to suck because I don't want to do that, because it was a decently built frame, you know. So like, look at that. It hits against the gas tank. Like, I don't know. I feel like I seriously have no idea what engine would go in here that would fit, because the overhead valve engine, this one here, doesn't exactly fit that good. The carburetor hits against the same spot that the gas tank's hitting, and this one frickin' doesn't fit right either. So that's frustrating. Alright, enough for tonight. I'm gonna head in. Alrighty. Alright, I have a plan. So instead of trying to make this one fit on this one, I'd had to notch out the frame anyway, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to stick with what I wanted to do originally and put this engine on this bike. So what I've figured out that I have to do is I made little risers for underneath here to mount onto the engine. Again, it still doesn't fit perfectly yet. I'm going to have to notch this little web here a little bit, and maybe the back of this tubing piece here. And as well, for clearance issues, I'm going to mount the gas tank up on here. It'll work. So, but yeah, I ran out of room to fit the gas tank underneath. I'm running out of clearance on the top now with those pieces to raise it up. So, yeah, it was running into everything. So I'll make it work. I'm gonna do some slicing and dicing, and I'll get back to you. Okay, I finally got this thing half close to fitting, right? So you can see I notched the crap out of that tube here. Now obviously this piece is no longer structurally sound. So I have an extra piece of tubing I'm just gonna slap on behind here and weld it all on, and it'll be good from there. But I just did a quick kind of like impromptu mock-up of the chain to make sure everything lined up where it was at, and I can still move the engine forward a little bit if I need more tension. So this might work here. So basically, in total, what I had to do is I still have to drill holes in the riser pieces, but I have these square tubing pieces sitting in here to raise the engine up, and then I had to notch this tube here, and actually, oh yeah, I had to cut part of that web out as well for clearance for this big pulley back here. So I'm getting there. Of course, it's never easy. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. It's never simple with these things. Doesn't matter how simple the construction is, it's always got to fight you somehow. So, all right. So, my plan to just make a little modification to the frame failed. So what I had to do instead was I needed a lot more clearance actually. So I did a little lobster cut here. Didn't cut it the whole way off, but I cut it enough to be able to bend it down. And then I had the rod come down, and this is all new stuff, and I made the bend go here so it clears this big ass pulley here. So yeah, now everything fits. So I can finally move forward. Woohoo! Alright, so no vehicle of mine I could call under my own name without having a straight pipe exhaust on it, as per usual. So, I'm going to show everybody how I like to make my exhausts. They're pretty simple. I don't understand why people pay 40 bucks for one off of eBay. I think that's a ripoff. So I'm going to start out with, I got the stock muffler here. I'm going to use the bottom flange for the mount it, and what I got here is conduit, electrical conduit. Yes, it is cheap. This is not grade A material. I'm not hiding that fact. But the point being is, unless you're like serious racer, this stuff's going to do just fine. When you weld onto it, you have to take off the coating, the galvanized coating on the outside, because that's all poisonous junk. So you don't want to breathe that in. But I'm going to use this 90-degree elbow. Crap, what'd I pay for it? 4 bucks. And then I got I have what's left of a 10-foot section of 1-inch conduit over there. I think that was 8 bucks. So I made 4 exhausts from $8 worth of conduit so far. So yeah, this stuff's pretty good. So I'm going to show you guys how this ends up turning out. Okay, so I cut this flange end off of the manifold thingy, I guess you want to call it that. Took it off the muffler. So this is going to be the only piece I'm going to use from the stock exhaust. So yep, I'm going to put my 90-degree elbow on here. I'm going to cut it down a little bit first, but it'll be a good fit. Presto. So here's my exhaust pipe. It's got a nice curve going on to it. Getting the bolts to fit inside the flange while welding it on was a little bit tricky. I had to grind some of the weld off to so that the bolt would actually fit in the bolt holes again. And as well, I had to kind of I had to kind of whack that side a little bit. Looks a little ugly, but it works. So I cut off, originally I cut off a little bit off this side and I just welded it again back up here because it's all straight. So it's about 14 inches overall, which it's about, it could be a little longer, but it'll do. So I'm gonna throw it on and go get something else done. So I guess all I got left to do right now for this one, I have to mount the gas tank on top here because I ran out of room down below now. So I have to mount the gas tank up here, and I have to hook up the throttle cable yet, and as well, I have to fit this cover on. It doesn't exactly fit, so I have to cut a little bit out of the back end. So, and I have to weld on new foot pegs up here because the old ones were right here where there's nothing there anymore. So I have to weld on new foot pegs up here. Alright, so one of the last things I had to do was put on a new foot peg bar here because the old ones were back here. So yeah, the new engine's in the way. But let's take a step back. Does that look frickin' cool or what? Damn right it does. So, I have this little thing just about wrapped up here. This thing's like a hot rod, I guess. Little frame and a big motor. Well, I guess not a big motor, but a very powerful one at least. So, this is like a 11, 12 horsepower Briggs & Stratton racing engine. Runs on alcohol, methanol, whatever you want to call it. So, this should be pretty interesting. I didn't document too much about the build because there really wasn't much of it, besides hooking up the throttle, putting air in the tires, and putting the engine in, and that was about it. This was pretty much just a bolt-on deal here. So I'll see if I can get this thing to run, and we'll go from there.